square was not perfectly square. In fact, the sides were all different. And so I looked at, we have the north face is 439.67 cubits, and the south face was 440.05 cubits. And then the east and west faces were, east was 439.93 cubits, and the west was 439.87 cubits. So why the differential? Why are they not all exactly the same? And I found it out. All I did is I did the math clockwise and anti-clockwise on the Great Pyramid on those sides, starting with clockwise with the north face at 439.67 cubits divided by the east, which is 439.93 cubits, which equals 0.999. And I went, oh, my God, I know what that number means. I know exactly what that number means because I've done so many calculations, I can kind of refer to it like an index. And then when I did the east-south side, I got 0.999. And then when I did the southwest and the east-north, I got 1. And then way down in the decimal series, you generate all these other numbers. So my ratio was 1 to 0.999. Now, I know that doesn't mean anything to anybody yet, but it's going to mean something so incredible that there's no way that an ancient civilization without access to space technology could know what that number means.
It was done on purpose.
And I'll tell you what it is. Now, the Earth itself was originally thought to be a perfect sphere. And during the time of Archimedes, who was the forefather to Newton, who was the forefather to Einstein, Archimedes was one of the greatest mathematicians of all time in the 4th century BC. He comes right after Pythagoras.
Came up with buoyancy and everything else.
Right. And he actually, one of his inspired students, Eratosthenes, he actually is the first one to determine the circumference of the Earth, not precisely, assuming it's a perfect sphere. And Eratosthenes, I have a hard time pronouncing his name, he basically finds 1 degree on the horizon.
He won't matter, David. I don't think he's with us anymore.
Okay. So he finds 1 degree on the horizon and converts that to Earth distance and multiply by that by 360 degrees, and you come to 24,900 miles roughly. So you think, okay, great. He's resolved that the Earth is a sphere, and he does this in the 3rd century BC.
And he was right.
And, well, he was not precisely right because the Earth is not a sphere.
It's an egg.
It's a slight egg. And NASA, when they use satellite technology, they find that the circumference pole to pole, North Pole to South Pole, has a difference between. Actually, I'll give you the actual numbers for the audience because you can actually calculate this. It's the equator circumference is actually 40,075 kilometers, 0.1611530. So it's a really precise number that NASA gave us. And then the pole-to-pole circumference is 39,946.7014, etc. The ratio between those two sides is, guess what it is? 0.9968. It's precisely the same ratio, harmonic code, as the sides on the Great Pyramid.
Now, why do you conclude, though, that mankind couldn't have come up with this on its own?
Well, not without space technology, because even Eratosthenes could not conclude that the Earth was an egg, because he
wouldn't have known. He couldn't have known.
He couldn't have known, because when he takes 1 degree in the horizon versus land distance, he's assuming the Earth is a perfect sphere, and even his forefather, Archimedes, realizes that pi actually can't perfectly resolve a circle. There's a huge mystery about a circle in my book, The Hidden Harmonic Codes of the Universe, and that's something else in itself. But the ratio is 99.8% accurate to the ratio of the Earth's circumferences, the 2 different circumferences, pole to pole. And the problem with this is, mathematically, it would have been impossible, even in the time of even the Italians. I mean, even Da Vinci's time. Even Da Vinci. What's his name? The other Da Vinci.
Well, there's Leonardo, and that is good enough for me.
Leonardo Fibonacci, who developed the Fibonacci sequence, which leads us to the golden mean. That's the first hidden harmonic code that was discovered that was considered, the secret ratio of nature.
All right, but what are you saying about the pyramid? Are you saying that ETs definitely helped in some form or fashion?
Well, what I'm saying is the builders of the pyramid built the sides of the pyramids in a precise ratio that's equal to the hidden harmonic code of Earth itself. And because the Earth is an ellipse, a slight egg, the beauty of an ellipse versus an egg is each location on an ellipse has a precise set of harmonics codes that are going to be very, very precise. So I actually believe the missing 0.03%, 2% difference between the pyramid's harmonic code and the actual Earth is its location on the planet. Now, this gets really interesting because there's no way mathematically that the ancient Egyptians, Zahi Hawass says at least 5,000 years ago, or 3000 BC when they were made, we know that it took until the time of the Greeks to even get a rough circumference of the Earth, let alone discover that the Earth has two different circumferences and that their ratio is the same as the pyramids. You would have to have access to space technology. And I know Zahi Hawass would be very alarmed by this, and he would have a hard time with it.
Oh, yeah, he'd be fighting you tooth and nail.
Tooth and nail, but there's no way that they could have known. There's no way you can do this mathematically from the Earth and using a sextant and the stars. There's just no way.
What if they had advanced technology? Not ET technology, but advanced technology.
You still couldn't do it from sitting on the Earth itself.
You had to be up.
You had to actually get satellite and radar data actually bouncing waves off of the Earth in all of the dimensions as it rotated to get the precise numbers that I used to produce my differential hidden harmonic code. Now, this is where it gets more interesting, because let's say we can assume, let's see if we can accept that it took extraterrestrial technology to get those dimensions.
Okay, we'll assume that for now.
And that the Earth, that the pyramid itself is sitting on a precise harmonic code as a location, and its harmonic resonance as a harmonic set, three pyramids, is in ratio with Orion's belt. Now, we know that stones act as amazing capacitors, meaning they can hold a huge amount of charge. And with the millions of blocks that are in the Great Pyramid, the amplitude of the charge they would hold would be phenomenal. Well, here's the golden key. I found that if you take a stone capacitor and we actually interfaced it with a conductor metal, beautiful metal windings we have in these pendants, that all of a sudden, and we're not running any more energy into the system, when you put your fingers on it, it vibrates your body to levels that are incredible, right up to the super athlete level, 200 millivolts.
You think that was the purpose of the pyramid?
Well, remember the golden capstone that belongs on the top.
Right.
Now, if I can demonstrate this on a small scale, that as soon as you put that capstone on the pyramid itself, and then you activate it with a form of energy, they become massively powerful harmonic resonators.
And when they do, what does that mean? We'll find out when we come back.